So today I'm going to be looking at a 3D side-scrolling beat-em-up that I believe at one point was a potential Streets of Rage 4. Developed by Core Design, the same studio responsible for the Tomb Raider franchise, this game is a PS1 Classic. But for whatever reason, it never actually released as Streets of Rage 4, and instead we got a little game called Fighting Force. However, it's clear from the get-go that the DNA of Streets of Rage lives on within this game. The game supports 2-player co-op, but for this review I'm going to keep it to single player. So upon pressing start, you are treated to a pretty cool character select screen where you can pick one of 4 fighters to play as. Now these characters are clearly the roster from Streets of Rage, just reskinned. You can see Max in the big guy, there's Blaze, there's Skate, and then I'm pretty sure Hawk is supposed to be the Axel character. Now, well, seeing as Axel in Streets of Rage was fucking awesome, I'm gonna pick Hawk, so let's go. So the story revolves around these 4 strangers all coming together due to their mutual hatred for Dr. Zeng, who is a criminal mastermind with an army at his command who wants to destroy the world. But wouldn't that mean destroying yourself? Anyway, so the game starts with a police cordon around Dr. Zeng's HQ, and the first few stages of level 1 play out like the final moments in a Streets of Rage game. You start outside Zeng's HQ and you have to punch and kick your way in. To do this, you have a 3-punch combo, a 3-kick combo, and a special attack which drains your health, like Streets of Rage. You also have a grab that you can do various moves from by pressing the punch or kick buttons. You can also jump, which I've never really found a use for, and you can also do a running jump kick and a running slide, with the slide sound effect sounding very familiar. So far so good, even if it is very much Streets of Rage. I'm loving it, though it is a little bit cartoony looking. Holy shit! Oh my god, that was so brutal! Fuck! This game is just fucking awesome. So, after fighting your way in, you then have to go through the building and work your way up to Dr. Zeng. There's even a lift stage with multiple waves of enemies, which is just like Streets of Rage. So stage 1 ends in Zeng's office on the top floor of his HQ. You arrive too late though, and Zeng quickly makes his getaway on his dropship, though he does leave you to fight his henchmen. Or rather, his fucking X-Men Jean Grey / Wolverine love childs. Look at those fucking claws, man. What the fuck? This game starts out as a semi-realistic game, and 10 minutes in and we're getting enemies like this. Brilliant. It's like some 90s or 80s action movie, and I fucking love it. After beating them, you're back at street level for stage 2, which begins with a fucking crazy ass motorbike guy coming at you immediately. So with my cat-like reflexes, I quickly dodge out the way, and then something glorious happens. It exploded. The bike exploded. It hit an invisible wall, and then the bike exploded. And you know what the best part is? I can pick up the broken bike and beat this guy and his mates to death with it. This game is glorious. Absolutely glorious. So as you fight your way up the street, you'll eventually come across a chopper and more men on bikes. After dealing with those, you then have to face off against the first boss of the game. Now this guy is pretty tough, but as soon as you knock him down and steal his giant fucking axe, you can quickly make mincemeat out of him. Next. So upon completing the stage, you then get one of the game's first branching path options, and it's here where you can choose one of 3 routes to take. You don't actually get to go on to the others on this playthrough, so the game does encourage multiple runs through it in order to see all the levels, which is pretty cool and kind of similar to what they did in Streets of Rage 3. So I decided to pick this park stage, and the level opens up at night time, and everything seems quite peaceful, to be honest, as you start with several homeless people standing by a bin fire in front of you, trying to keep warm in this cold, cold night. So I walk up to them and I casually shoot them all in the face, and then I get jumped by some Casey Jones looking motherfuckers. So I beat the crap out of these guys too, and I head further into the park, defeating waves and waves of more enemies. This level kinda drags, and the park isn't as interesting a stage as I thought it would be. It's also here where I notice an issue with the random drops from enemies that you get on occasion, such as health and money. My main problem is that it can sometimes be hard to spot them, and that they expire after a few seconds of being on the ground. Because you are running around, focused on each enemy after the next, the defeated ones are usually now off screen, so you don't always see that there's a pickup there. It's a minor issue, sure, and it can sort of be remedied by holding the L1 button to zoom the camera out a bit, allowing you to see more of the environment. So after the park level, you arrive at a train station, which is giving me some major flashbacks. So it starts you off with the ticket gates right in front of you, and I assumed this was where the jump button would come in handy, as up until now it's been kinda useless. But I can't even jump over them. For fuck's sake. So I eventually just smash the fuck out of the booths and enter the station proper. Sadly, this level is a bit shit, as it's rather boring. You see, the enemies come in 2 pairs of 2, both coming out of the left and right trains, which constantly spawn every couple of seconds. Now this really slows down the level, as you can normally defeat all of the enemies on the platform before another train comes, leaving you waiting around on the platform for the next train. Upon completing this level, the area is then repeated again for the boss fight with EXO, who is one tough son of a bitch. Jesus Christ, this guy's strong. But the trick to this fight isn't to throw punches at him. Instead, it's to just throw the luggage lying around the platform at him, as a fist does minimal damage, but a suitcase to the face? Now that will take a good chunk of health off. Well, it would if my guy didn't throw like a girl. Ugh. So when EXO finally has enough of a face full of luggage, I clear the stage and again can pick one of 2 routes to go through. Here I chose the Naval Base, which starts with a journey towards it via the train, which I think is a pretty cool way of linking the areas together and is a real nice touch. Now, the train level is dramatically different to the ones before it, as it's a much more narrow environment compared to the wide open areas you've been fighting in previously. This causes the combat to be very close quarters now and very cramped as you fight your way through each carriage towards the front of the train. Dynamite on a train. Dynamite on a train? Oh, this game. Stop it, stop it, stop it. Oh man, yes. The strobe lighting effect while in the carriages is also another cool touch on this level. It's just a shame that it's over far too quickly. So, upon arriving at the Naval Base, you are confronted by guards, and the aim again is to beat the living shit out of everyone here in another short level where nothing too exciting happens. When we do arrive at the naval ship area, we are again surrounded by more goons, and it's here where I find fists just aren't enough. I think I need a weapon instead. How about that bat? I'll just take that one right there. What the fuck, you cheeky fucking cunt! So after clearing the area of goons and getting my bat back, we then have to face off against the next boss. And it's here where the game goes even more batshit crazy. It's a guy in a mech suit with a jetpack. Holy shit. What the fuck is this? My god. This really is some goofy Schwarzenegger movie, isn't it? So this boss is a cunt to fight against. A right fucking cunt. So he flies high above you, and as he gets close, he will stomp down onto the ground, which, if you are too close, will send you flying backwards. A few seconds after landing, he will then charge himself up with electricity, which will shock you if you touch him. To add another layer of bullshit to the boss, if you stay in close proximity to him, he will then start shooting you with a machine gun. So how exactly do I fight this fucking knob then? So, to hit him, you will need to wait for him to fly, and then quickly dodge his stomp attack, and then, even more quickly, turn around and run back to him so you can get in one or two measly quick hits before he electrifies himself. You then need to leg it before he brings out his gun. Once you're far enough away, he will then fly at you, and you repeat the process again until he dies. It's here where my issue with the game's controls raises its ugly head. You see, your turning circle is really wide, especially when running. And if you are running and try to attack, you'll do either a jump kick or slide. Problem is, these take too long to animate, so he'll just shock you before you can get a hit in. Instead, you have to awkwardly run around, then stop and punch twice, and it's a bit of a clusterfuck, to be honest. There are barrels around the environment to pick up and throw, and I think that is the intended way to beat him. However, it takes so fucking long to pick them up, you will just end up getting hit and dropping the fucking thing anyway. So, I persist with my technique and eventually beat the arsehole, and then you get a cutscene of you on a small boat driving towards one of Zeng's ships. Well, I think you're supposed to be on it, but upon zooming in, there's clearly no one on the boat. In this level, you'll find yourself once again surrounded, but this time it's by some scuba suit wearing hotties who clearly aren't the welcome party you'd hope for. This ain't no sex cruise, that's for sure. The only things these ladies will give you are cuts and bruises. I'm sorry, Sasha. It's not you. It's me. I think we should see other people. Upon defeating my babes, more of Zeng's goons are then dropped in by chopper and hovership things. Now, I would be shocked at this point for how random that is, but hey, fighting force is being fighting force, and I fucking love it, so I'm gonna let it slide. These enemies seem to have a fetish for barrels, as they can't get enough of throwing the fucking things at me. Jesus fucking wet. Oh, for fuck's sake, stop it with the barrels already. Oi, no, you don't. I'm warning you. Don't you fucking dare. Oh, for fuck's sake. Okay, that's enough of this shit. That barrel's mine now, motherfucker.
KO! You win.
After increasing the body count even further, we then finally arrive at Dr. Zeng's Island base, and it's here where it all goes a bit James Bond. There's hazmat guys to beat up, and these big fellas with robot arms to take down. So naturally I take them all down with style and with a little help from some office chairs, and then I move deeper into the base. As I enter the lab area, it then turns into Resident Evil, as you see some tyrant looking motherfuckers in test tubes. And again, like Resi, it's not long before these come alive and smash out of the test tubes. So these pricks are tough, and to make matters worse, their health regenerates over time. So you will need to focus on these exclusively to make sure they are dead before moving on to the other enemies in the room. The game is mixing it up a bit here, and it's pretty cool to see a different enemy type this far into the game. However, this level has a ton of enemies, and it is a bit of a slog to play through. Once you do get out of that bore fest, you once again find yourself on a giant lift level with waves of enemies to fight as it slowly rises to the top. This is a pretty tough section, and my health was pretty low here by the end of it, but at least now it will refill when we start the next area. My health didn't fill up. What the fuck is this? I'm at the final boss now and I've got like half my fucking health. This is just bullshit. Fuck me. In this area, there are loads of pillars around the edge of the level which contain either guns or health for you to smash up and grab. The only problem is that Zeng won't leave you alone for a second, and every time I try and destroy the pillars to get an item, this fucking cunt is right on my fucking arse. Come on, come on. Oh, just back the fuck off for a second, will ya? I know this is the final fucking boss, but fuck me, do you have to be right up my fucking arse all the time? So eventually I managed to smash some boxes and get a bit of health, and I do this a couple of times to get some more weapons. However, I feel like I've ended up losing more health than I've actually dealt in damage to Zeng by doing this. So for me, the guns aren't really a viable option, even the shotgun, especially with my low health. Fuck's sake, I have no fucking health left now. Jesus fucking Christ, I can't even get health or anything from another fucking pillar now, because if I try and hit that, he's gonna come up there and fucking twat me one. Fuck me. The only thing left to do now is to fucking slide. Hey, I know it's cheap, but you can't deny its effectiveness. So I slide and slide and slide and slide and slide again, and eventually I managed to chip away at all of his health while on 0 health myself, and I end up taking Cheng down. Fuck on that, you cunt. Game over. I win. Bitch. And that's it. Fighting Force is an awesome game Now, the controls and movement are pretty clunky by today's standards, but it's such an over-the-top and fun experience that it doesn't really matter. Sure, some levels can drag on, and you are just kind of doing the same 2-3 moves over and over again, but it's still a fun game. The one thing I didn't mention, the music, like Streets of Rage, it's also awesome, and I feel that this should have been Streets of Rage 4, as for me personally, I think it would have been a worthy successor to Streets of Rage 3. Let's just hope that the upcoming Streets of Rage 4 can live up to those games before it. It's a shame then that Fighting Force 2 was a completely different beast and it sucked balls when compared to this game, as I think Fighting Force could have been a really cool franchise if it was given the proper treatment by Core Design. But hey, I guess they were too busy milking the Tomb Raider franchise year on year. Fighting Force is a blast, and it's even better in co-op. So if you can find this out there somewhere, be sure to check it out, because Fighting Force is fucking great.